So Territory Wars, I think bow is C tier. I don't think I mean, it's got like rain of arrows and poison shot, which is decent, but compared to like some of the other AoE abilities that you would want to use in wars, it's just not as good. Just straight up. Really, as like range users in wars, like one of your main responsibilities is like the enemy siege of like getting them off siege, and the musket will just do it better than the bow. It's just hit scan. Fire staff, I think fire staff's like B. I think it's got decent AoE abilities for wars. Fire staff's interesting. You have stuff like fireball, which is great for like AoE damage, for like point. Meteor shower's pretty good. Meteor shower's maybe the only ability. I mean, I should say the only time meteor shower should honestly be taken is in wars. I think it's slightly better than the AoE is maybe slightly better than the bow. So I'd put it like a low B. Greataxe, I think is A. I think it's an A tier for sure. You have, because Greataxe is like interesting because you want some Greataxes on point and like throwing out some gravity wells and stuff like that, doing some decent damage. But then you also want some Greataxes in the back line, attacking like some of their backline people with stuff like charge, reap, stuff like that. So Greataxe is pretty versatile, like of how you can play Greataxe in wars, and it's useful really in both situations.
Who are the backline people?
Healers, casters, and some range people. I mean, muskets honestly should be playing a little bit further back than the back line is playing. So there's kind of like a back line and then a back line that the musket should, but you know, you'll see some muskets in there too. But mostly it's going to be your healers and casters. And I think Greataxe is really great in wars for like hunting down those people, along with maybe a couple other weapons. But yeah, I think, and then Greataxe is also really good on points too. So I think Greataxe is one of those that you kind of have to split your Greataxe users in wars, ideally of like kind of 50-50 on point and then on the back line. Hatchet, I think Hatchet is B for wars. I mean, it's okay on points. It's okay for a little bit. Yeah, I mean, it's just not a lot of the kit on Hatchet's just, well, okay. Actually, you know what I just thought of? This is the one time infected throw on the Hatchet is actually pretty nasty in wars because of how many people will be grouped up and how many tanks and people will be on point. And if you can weaken them from like disease, decreasing healing efficiency by 30%, that's actually could be huge in wars. And that actually might be the only time I would take infected throw in the Hatchet is in wars, especially if you stack some like Hatchet users on that, because as you know, and most people know, and if you don't know, you will know, there's life staffs everywhere in wars. There's sacred grounds everywhere, healing everywhere going around. So infected throw is the only ability in the game currently that actually decreases healing. There's no other ability or no other debuff in the game that does that. And because there's such a dense concentration of healing, just for the sake of infected throw, it's an A tier just for that reason. If it wasn't for infected throw, honestly it would be like C tier for wars. I think just because of infected throw, it's A. Yeah, I think so. I think people are sleeping on that in wars. I'll be really curious to see once we get going of like more coordinated teams and stuff like that. I guarantee a lot of sweaty PvP companies are going to run a lot of hatchets during wars because of infected throw. I think so. I don't know. We'll see though. But because of infected throw, it's A. Going in A tier for me. Ice Gauntlets is S. Ice Gauntlets is S tier for wars. It's actually insane. They might actually tweak, but that's in most other tier lists. Ice Gauntlets were kind of like in the middle, slightly lower, but Territory Wars, it's nuts. I'll tell you why. Because of Ice Storm, but specifically because of this passive. Oh no, wait, where's it at? This Punishing Storm. Increase damage by 10% for each enemy in Ice Storm. And you can easily get 10 people in there. 10, even 15 people in like your Ice Storm ones. Because Ice Storm's a very big radius. I've seen so many clips of like people just destroying people. It's crazy with the Ice Storm. That's what makes it S. It is the best AoE ability out of all of these for wars. And you can cast it super far away. I believe it's 20 meter range. 20 meter range on it. That's a very long, you can cast that from very far away. So you can be relatively safe too while casting it. Speaking of S tiers, yeah, this one doesn't require much explanation. I mean, you just can't, you can't, yeah. I mean, you're going to see so many life staffs on right behind the tanks on point. Just keeping the tanks alive. That's it. I mean, it's easy as that. Just healing. Only weapon that can AoE heal. So until there's another weapon that has like AoE heals added, it's staying there. I think even still it's going to stay there. But yeah, I mean, there's no other alternative to it. You don't, you're not running life staffs. You're literally trolling. So you notice a trend in all of these tier lists. Life staffs always at the top, which is why it's the best weapon in the game. Why I'm running it. Musket, I think, is high B. I think it's above fire staff. I think for wars, I think you could argue it might be even borderline A because of what the musket, what it does. There's no other weapon that can do it as good as a musket, and that's just like just killing people off siege mostly. Not only that, like I guess if you get like a group of like musket users and then you actually like coordinate with each other and you like focus on one person, they're dead. Like if you get like 3, 4, 5 muskets like coordinated on like one person, they're just gone. Yeah, I think muskets are just necessary. At least a certain amount of muskets are necessary in wars too. It's borderline A, better than the fire staff. I mean, it's more essential than the fire staff, I should say, but I'll keep it at high B for now. But yeah, musket's just really good for what it does. Rapier, I think rapier's a C for war. I mean, maybe even D. It's just not, I mean, for wars, I guess if you get in their back line, if you're playing backline, it could be decent, like isolating people, like what you should be doing with rapier anyways. I'm just trying to think of what you would pair it with, because like, I guess you could go bow rapier. It's just weird because like if you're running Greataxe rapier, you're obviously going to be spec'd into strength. So it's just kind of a weird weapon in wars, because it's like, are you spec'd into rapiers? Like rapier's like your main weapon. I don't know. Honestly, I think it's D. I think I'm going to put it in D tier, mostly for the fact that like, there's really only one way to play it, and that's it. And that's kind of difficult, because I just feel like the Greataxe just does, like, really the only way to play the rapier is like hunting down their backline, and I think the Greataxe will just do that better in wars. So I think rapier's D tier for wars. Spear I think is C. I think it might be slightly better than the rapier, mostly as a support weapon if like you're running like the bow or something, really to defend yourself from like from the enemy team like killing you in the back line. I think it's C. Yeah, I don't know. It's not really that great for wars, but maybe slightly better than the rapier. Sword and shield is S for wars. I mean, you're gonna see these two. Life staff and sword and shield are the essential weapons. I mean, you need a decent amount of shields on point, just holding block and absorbing damage. So yeah, I think sword and shield, there's just not really a replacement for it. Sword and shield, I think is S tier. I think just for the sake, it just can't be replaced, really. So like the life staff for that reason. I feel pretty good about that. And then Warhammer, I think Warhammer's A. I think it's a high A. I think that's Warhammer really shines in wars because of its, not only its CC, but AoE CC. I mean, you can get on point with a Warhammer. I mean, and you can do decent damage, and like with clear out, that's a really nice ability to like get people off the point too. Yeah, I think Warhammer's just overall like a really good. I even might put it slightly above the Greataxe. Yeah, I think that's what I would do like that. Yeah, I think that would be the specific order too. Warhammer would be above Greataxe. Greataxe be above Hatchet, Musket, Fire Staff, Bow. Yeah, I actually feel pretty good about that for wars. I think that would be the tier list for wars. Obviously subject to change, obviously, in my unprofessional opinion. Yeah, that would be my tier list. That would be my tier list for wars.